late afternoon. It's 4:45. I almost left without vlogging because I was so excited to be done with my grades, and I was talking to Taylor that I was packing up and getting ready to leave, and then I realized I haven't checked in. I meant to check in a few times earlier today, but I was finishing grades or got caught up talking with a colleague, so it just didn't happen. But I think I'm officially done with grades for the school year, and it is a relief. It is a nice break. It is the signal that summer is just right around the corner. I don't have anything left to grade, anything left to input. Fingers crossed that everything is fine, and I'm not gonna get an email from the secretary saying that I forgot to do something. So they were due at 4. I think I finalized them by about 4:15-ish. So I am done. But I definitely wanted to check in because a couple of things. Today, I knew this was happening this year, but I think I totally forgot about it. So today I got a nice little treat in the mail because I have officially worked for my current school district for 15 years. So every 5 years we have like a recognition ceremony, and you get like a pin or something along those lines as the years progress, and then what you get kind of evolves, or the value is higher. So for 15 years you get a pin. You get a 5-year pin as well as a 10-year pin that I hope is at home. So you get the pin, and then you get this really nice, I want to be careful because it's heavy, this really nice little desk plaque. I just have this little pink here to cover up my school district that has this crystal apple and a nice little pin, and then your name is engraved. So it just says latawnya.robinson in recognition and appreciation for 15 years of service, and then it has the year that you earned it. So I think I'm gonna leave it on my desk over here because it is heavy. Like if this were to be at the front of my desk and fall, it would break or hurt someone's foot. So that was really exciting. It did make me smile. It's been 15 years. The 15 years have flown by. And obviously I'm very happy in the district that I work with. No district is perfect, but I feel like this district is pretty close. Like I have no major complaints. So I wanted to share that and talk about what we did in class today because I feel like it went better than I thought. So we talked about compromise last week with those like social scenarios where kids had to come up with how to compromise their way out of some scenarios that they were given. And then we finished that up today on the Jamboard that I had created and most classes had started. So the first part of the Jamboard, I think, is what I showed you guys on Friday, where we started off by just talking about what compromise is after we watched that very cringeworthy video. So I put compromise in the middle, and then I called volunteers up to kind of tell us what compromise was. And then after that, we did the scenarios, and then after the scenarios, we talked about benefits. So I would have a student come up and just kind of mind map this out and talk about, well, what are the benefits of compromising? What do people ultimately get out of it when they choose to compromise? And so we did that as a whole group. And then individually, after we had that discussion, they did this. So they pulled a little Post-it and answered the question, why would abolitionists want to compromise on slavery? So I said, hopefully at this point in modern society, we all recognize that slavery is wrong. It's clearly wrong, and abolitionists obviously felt like it was wrong for a variety of reasons. So if they felt like something was so wrong and shouldn't exist, why would they be willing to compromise? And so the goal is that they realize that they understood that the absolute and immediate end to slavery probably seemed very unlikely to them. And getting some sense of an end to slavery or some sense of a pause to slavery was better than letting it just kind of grow and snowball out of place. So we did that. I had kids work on that part independently. Like I gave them about 5 to 7 minutes to come up with a response to that question. And I just displayed it on the interactive display. We call her Sammy. I just displayed their work on the display as they were working so they can kind of see their classmates working and just kind of be engaged by that. My morning switch class got to use the interactive board for the first time, and when I talk about engagement, like those kids were excited to come up here and write and erase, and they really do think it's a cool piece of technology. So just having something like this display has been like an engagement tool for sure. So that is what we did in history. And then in language arts, I did end up using that video that I showed you guys yesterday. And what I decided to do with it, let me open it up. Well, actually, I'm not gonna open it up. What I decided to do with it was show them the end of the video first, where they give, or where they discuss something called the Heinz dilemma. And the Heinz dilemma is this scenario where you have a man whose wife is like gravely ill, or like on the verge of death, and there's only one type of medication that she could take to heal her of this illness. And so he goes to, they call it a druggist in the video. I'm assuming that's the same thing as a pharmacist, but they go to like a pharmacist who has created this medication, the one medication that can save his wife's life. And despite the fact that it only costs, let's say, $1 to produce this drug, the pharmacist is selling it for 10 times the price. So the husband can't afford it. He seeks out help from his friends to get money to chip in to purchase it. But even with that, he can't afford it. So he decides to go rob the pharmacist to steal the drug to save his wife's life. So at the end of the video, there's 4 questions that they ask for this study that was done by a psychologist. And so I just turned those 4 questions into a Google form called the Heinz dilemma, a moral dilemma. And it says, think about the dilemma Mr. Heinz was facing and answer the following questions. Answer them as honestly as possible. Your answers are anonymous. So the first question they're asked is, do you think Mr. Heinz should have stolen the medication for his wife? Yes or no? The second question was, if you answered yes to the first question, would your answer change if you knew that Mr. Heinz did not love his wife? I think I need to edit this so that there's an option that says, I didn't think he should steal the medication, because not everyone should answer this question depending on how they answered that one, if that makes sense. But I might change that when I get home for my next classes tomorrow, or for my switch classes tomorrow. The third question was, what if the person that was dying and needed the medication was a stranger and not his wife? Would this change your answer to the first question? And then last, there is a typo here. Let me fix this. Okay, fixed it. So the last question is, if the wife were to die without the medication, should the pharmacist be held responsible and charged with murder, yes or no? So I don't ask them to explain their answers in the form itself. So I gave them a couple of minutes, and then I said, let's look at our responses. So these are responses that represent 2 classes. So a total of 29 students have responded so far. And so I would just share with them the summary so they can kind of see the trend so far. And then I would ask someone to volunteer, like, why you answered that question yes, why you answered it no. And it's just interesting. You can see how it progresses through the questions. So it goes from like an overwhelming majority to a slightly less overwhelming majority to almost being split to almost a hard no. So it was just a really interesting discussion that we had, especially in my morning homeroom class. My afternoon homeroom class wasn't as dynamic because that is that quiet class. And then we didn't get to it in my morning switch or on my PM switch. So it actually worked a lot better than I thought, because again, everything that I'm doing now, I've never done it before because we weren't doing this last year. So I have no sense of what's going to work versus what's not going to work. So after this, I told them we're going to read some passages in Unit 3 of Study Sync, and all those passages focus on how people's life experiences affects their morals. And I forgot to mention prior to doing this, I asked them, like, what are morals? When you hear people talk about morals, what does that mean? What are they talking about? So they knew that it had something to do with like your values and what you think is right and wrong. One student knew that it had something to do with ethics and being unethical. And we talked about that, and that how not everyone is operating under the same set of morals. There's not like a defined list of good morals and then a defined list of bad morals, and that people's morals vary based on their belief system, and again, what they've experienced, maybe what they haven't experienced. So it went really well. I'm happy about it. So with that being said, am I gonna talk to you when I get home? Probably not. I I really do just want to go home and relax. I'm gonna walk Riley. I need to kind of figure out what I'm doing tomorrow, so I need to focus. And I think I'm gonna treat myself to not having to cook. I'm gonna have Waba Grill. I need to eat something healthy so that I can have my leftover cake and ice cream for dinner, because I didn't have that last night. So that is all. Oh, and then a little stress about the end of the year. I don't know for sure what I'm teaching next year. We haven't been told that, but that information should be coming soon. But we're getting new carpet in our classroom, and we've been told things like you need to remove the border on your bulletin boards, which is not that stressful, but it's like just another thing to do to get me to summer break. We have to move furniture and store it somewhere, either in the pod or at home, which means my desk has to move. This piece of furniture back here has to move. The bookcase has to move. The display has to move, and I have no idea, A, how I'm going to move it, and B, where I'm going to move it to, like where am I storing it, and then how to get it back here. So that's causing me some anxiety and stress. I just really wanted to roll into summer, but now those things have to be worried about. So that is that update. And as far as our 8th graders and their promotion, they are having a drive-through promotion. I talked about it with my classes this year, and every team of 8th grade teachers has a drive-up time at a different point in the morning. So my promotion drive-through time with my partner teacher is next Monday. No, not next Monday. 2 weeks from yesterday. So May the 24th from 8 to 9 p.m. So that's it. That's all I have to say now. So if you enjoyed today's little check-in, please give this vlog a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do that. And if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you head over there. And as always, I hope that you guys are well. And if you're not well, please be well. And I will see you guys tomorrow.